Extra, extra, read all about it as we will be spoiling all contents from this week's episode in this podcast recap. View at your own discretion.
You've been warned.
Welcome back to the house, everybody. We just like jam here. It's all
I know.
Good. It's all good.
It's a good intro.
Hey, I like it. Definitely found it for free. Don't sue us.
Yeah.
This is the House 755 pod. We are glad you guys are back hanging around the house with us. We are back to discuss one of our just favorite shows we've seen in a while. Spoiler alert. We are back to discuss the season 3 finale of Invincible himself.
Come on, son.
It's going to be a good episode. I'm your podcast host, as always, Noah Marano. Back with my co-host, my producer,
Hey.
my good friend, Battle Beast.
I don't know why he's so charismatic, but he is.
Yeah.
And he's definitely turned into just one of the most enjoyable characters.
Yeah.
I'm sad that by the time we get to season 4, I will have probably forgot about him a little bit just because, you just do.
Yeah, he's also not like a major character in the series. He kind of just comes in when he's there.
But he's major enough.
Yeah, for sure.
And so when he does come back,
yeah,
I'm going to be looking forward to that. Peak television, baby.
Oh, man. This episode was lots of fun. We didn't get lots of Battle Beast, but we got lots of Mark. We got lots of a new character that we need to discuss. If you've been living under a rock, we are discussing the finale of Season 3 Invincible. This has been quite the show on the streets. I'm really happy because this show kind of came back in full force in the pop culture scene. Everybody's vibed with this season. Everybody's vibed with what seems like the finale. And this show has a very high rating across the board for critics and audiences alike. And I'm just glad that they were able to land the plane really well.
Yeah.
That was something I was like most concerned about. We kind of discussed it like very briefly, like the conquest aspect of his voice when he first shows up. I was like, I don't know, man. And I wasn't the only one. I was surprised to learn that I wasn't the only one like concerned with that. There was quite a bit of people. Even my buddy who has read the comic series as well, he thought the same thing when we were discussing it. And I will say I had that thought going into the episode, but 10 minutes in, that thought was completely erased. Like I don't want to say I 180'd, but I'll say like the voice didn't bother me at all. I think it was played in a much better tone because I think they kind of twisted up the Conquest character a little bit from what they've done in the comics, which I thought was cool. Thought it worked really well. And then not only that, we just get like 30 minutes of just solid just battle.
Yeah.
And that just was toasty. It really was. It felt like it was filling me up. Like I didn't feel like empty from the episode, which season finales can fall into that stigma of getting really empty.
No, dude, for sure. Like, it got to the point where after the battle was over, I was like, man,
yeah,
what a great episode.
What a great episode.
And I look and I'm like, oh, I still got a good little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I got dessert.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah. Wasn't quite over. Wasn't quite over.
I was like, I'm not going anywhere.
Oh man. So let's get into the episode. So just a quick recap. We leave off on the Invincible War. All the marks are vanquished to another dimension. Angstrom Levy is gone. But of course, in the middle of the pickup, a Viltrumite shows up. But not only a Viltrumite, one of the Viltrumites. One of the most powerful, strongest, maybe the most powerful and strongest. I don't think they say it directly in the show, but he is the oldest Viltrumite living right now. His name's Conquest. He's got a big metal Thanos arm. He shows up and he tells Mark what's up. He says, this is going down, whether you like it or not.
So would you say this is like equivalent to like... Maybe this is equivalent to like Bill Russell going back in time to like his prime, but then like visiting, but like he's still older.
Mm-hmm.
He's still the Bill Russell we all know.
Okay.
But he visits LeBron, but like LeBron in like 2008. You know what I mean?
Prime Bill Russell travels to the future to meet
to
young LeBron.
To meet a young LeBron. He's like, he's up and coming. And he's gonna be the guy. But then it's like he's getting met by like the old head, and his, that
yes,
that's how I took it. It's not Michael Jordan because Conquest isn't Jordan.
I'm trying to think of like a more like I understand Bill Russell was dominant. I'm not. Take my words very carefully here.
Careful
Take my words very carefully here.
Us nerds, we know ball.
For
Okay?
sure.
We're gonna criticize you.
Like, if I'm getting comparison-wise, I don't think I would use Bill Russell. I think I would use
I think
someone like Kareem. He was just more physically dominating.
That's fair. The reason I use Bill Russell is because Conquest's so old.
For sure, he's so old.
That's why. I had to go. You had to go way back. You had to go back.
This was like the Kai. This is actually better analogy, I think.
Okay.
This is more like the Uncle Drew commercial where Kyrie shows up to the court
Okay.
and nobody knows what the sauce is.
yeah.
And
He's like, you guys don't really know ball.
he
They're
has
like,
to-
no, we know ball.
He quickly shows them. But in that case, there is no young LeBron. There's just Kyrie
Sure.
beating up on a bunch of
randos.
So yeah, we get Conquest. She shows up, and this episode was just really good. A lot of meaty stuff to get into. Before we kind of like go through our favorite moments, like chronologically, and we get through some of the parts of it. I do want to point out like the twist of Conquest that I pointed out earlier. I was talking to my buddy about it, and he brought up an interesting point because we were kind of discussing the episode right after we'd seen it. We both have run through the entire comic run, and something I even said to you, like, I think on the phone after I saw the episode, is that like the Conquest character wasn't exactly the same from the comics. Like in the comics, he's more of just like this raw animal, like pit bull off a leash type villain. He's sadistic. He's just completely sadistic. Like. And he's really just a chaos control agent. That's really all he is in the comics. And this, what I thought was interesting about this, my friend pointed out to me, is that they twist it to be almost like he is a very calculated, like psychopathic killer, where he is not so much like just this rabid animal off a leash, just letting loose punches and just bloodthirsty, trying to lick your blood up everywhere. He's like savoring the moment. He is planning out how he wants this to go, and he's also like he's just very cool, and everything he says is very calm and collected. It's very thought out, and it's not. It was a twist from the comics because I just think, but it like worked a lot. Mm-hmm. It worked really well. And when he pointed that out to me, it clicked in my mind because I was trying to figure out like what's so different about this, and I think that was kind of the thing is that they changed up the Conquest character, but it worked really well for a lot of different reasons because I think it just gives the fight more weight. It gives it more danger. Like, I felt more danger throughout this entire fight than I have watching a lot of Invincible. I felt like there were real stakes. I felt like if people are not careful, they're going to walk into this and just get smashed, which kind of happened.
Yeah, no, twice.
So, because, like, Mark shows up, and Mark immediately knows the danger, but he's about it. But his brother shows up, and he's instantly like, bro, you have to, like, go. This is not a space for you. Like, I'm not kidding. This is not a joke. This is not training. This is not Elephant Boy. They're like, you have to leave.
And it's like, but Mark knew the danger, right? Because he knows he's a Viltrumite. But I don't think Mark even knew the extent of how much more dangerous this guy is than an Anessa or
he
Lucan.
Can't. He only knows so much about the world right now.
Exactly. He doesn't know everything. So, like, yes, of course, any Viltrumite is going to be extremely dangerous to anybody. But, like, we kind of have the context that, like, yes, you're right to think that he's dangerous, but he's even more dangerous than you think.
This is, like, the worst danger you could be in right now.
The worst.
And you feel that every time an auxiliary character shows up in the middle of their fight. You're just like, please, get out quick.
Like,
because that guy will take your head off. He won't care.
It felt more dangerous, and I felt like this is proper than Anessa. Like, Anessa was, Anessa was giving him the work.
For sure.
For sure, beating the brakes
Younger
off.
Mark too, so, you felt a little bit of that danger, but...
But you, like, with this dude, it's like...
With Anissa, you felt like she would at least hold back in certain moments.
She was like, I feel like she was more calculated, more...
For sure.
She was trying to get her point across. She was very, she was lecturing. He's
just there to do one thing, and that's to kill Mark, and that's to take over the planet.
It's the conquest.
Yeah, it's the conquest. So he was excellent. I thought the whole fight was really good. I thought there was definitely some really cool animation frames. Thought there were a couple poor ones, but like I'm kind of sick of the animation talk from the streets. I've seen a lot of hate online. I saw one post the other day where like they showed it, and then they showed some clip from this episode. And then they were like, here it is. Everybody, like, animation is shit the entire season. And then they have one episode and everybody gaslights the animation into thinking it's something great. And that was like a comment on one of the posts. And I was just like, why can't we? I understand. Listen, I get it. It's not as peak as like a lot of anime is. respectfully, like, it's just not going to be. You just got to take it for what it is. And I just don't care for all the over hate I feel like it's coming to now with the animation style.
I think what bothers me more is that, like, no matter how close we can get to a show being, and I know this matters a little bit more for you than me, but no matter how close we can get to like a consensual, like, this product is amazing, this season is great. No matter what, if you're on TikTok scrolling on your random For You page and you come across a random edit of like a really cool moment in Invincible.
There was one guy who literally did the whole like episode.
You can go to the comments though and always find negativity. And it's like, I understand like not every single person in the world is gonna like this or love this, but it's like, man, if this doesn't scratch your itch, if you look at this product, if you look at season 3 and you're like, this is a piece of garbage, I am very like scared.
You're just not in it for the love of the game.
You're just like, there's nothing that's gonna please you.
Yeah, it's true.
If you can't even say this is like, okay, this is good. Maybe it's not the best thing you've ever seen, but you could say, okay, this is a good season. Like, if you can't even say that, I genuinely do not know what's gonna please you, satisfy you. I mean, this is. I don't understand it.
Just stop watching it. You're just watching it to hate on it at that point.
And those people don't make any sense.
No,
to me.
they don't. And like to your point too, I think, you know, with like this animation style, you kind of just have to take it as it is, especially, but you also have to like learn to look past it when the story is so good. And I know we are always about that. Like if we can, we do a good job at like taking the context of seeing like, sure, maybe it's not the greatest animation we've ever seen, but if the story is so good, I really don't care. And like the story was really good. And we got a couple of those really good, you know, animated fight scenes in this episode, at least, that can kind of hold up the rest of the show. Like there was even one really poor one in this episode with the fight where it was just the same 2 frames over and over again when Mark was punching him. It's like, I didn't care. I guess saw it in the moment and I was like, that's not great. But then we kept pushing and I forgot about it because it was still such a good fight.
I don't think that was a lapse in animation. I think that was a stylistic choice.
I agree, but I
just didn't like the choice.
I think that's one of those choices that they talked about in season 2 and they did that whole like monologue of these are the ways we like help ourselves cut on time and money. Like that was one of them.
Just a little
for sure. And
shortcut.
I can see that for what that is. But a lot of people I feel like are watching the show
and they go
and they see that and they're like, that's so bad. And it's like, okay, but
what about the dust cloud that formed and then exploded?
Yeah, you're taking away from all the cool stuff they've done in this episode. Because there was that one shot where Conquest, they're in space and Conquest throws Mark back down to Earth and Mark is kind of like getting up and he turns up and looks around and Conquest just
so cool
beams down into the Earth and you just literally the whole city just cracks in half. That was really good. And what I was talking about from last time, another big thing that I kind of keyed on was I mentioned to you I was frustrated because I didn't feel like when Conquest showed up at the end of last episode, the animation really felt as emotionally like charged as I feel like the comics did. I got done with this episode and my thoughts on that have completely changed because clearly whether they were saving it for this episode or whether they just simply wanted to go somewhere more with this episode, it worked because this episode you see all those more graphically animated like lines in the face. You see that emotion pouring off of Mark the entire fight. You see the sadistic scowling of Conquest throughout the entire fight, and I felt it throughout the entire episode. Really, like it was never a moment where I was like, I don't feel the emotion of just like pure rage that Mark's feeling, or pure sadness, or just fear. Like I didn't feel that last episode, but once I saw it this episode, I was like, see, now that I have the picture, it's like that was maybe a negative, but it wasn't a negative that's gonna keep me from enjoying the show or saying that it's still a good show.
Yeah.
So those were all like key points that I really zoned in on. Those were like the biggest things I really zoned in on watching it. But I know you watched this. Obviously, you watched this episode more as someone who did not really know what was going to happen.
I watched it twice.
Yeah.
Once as that, and then once as a
for sure.
critic.
And now you kind of knew.
Yeah.
So when you first like watched this, like what was going through your head? Because like I knew Oliver wasn't gonna die.
Yeah.
I knew Eve wasn't gonna die.
Gotcha.
And I knew Conquest was gonna die.
Okay.
So like I knew all that going into it, so I had a different like pretext to watching the episode. But how
sure.
did you feel like watching it?
Yeah, I went into it and it's like during the fight, right? It's brutal. Conquest is, absolutely destroying Mark, obliterating him. But then I like, stopped to myself and I'm like, okay, the show's called Invincible. So he's not gonna die. He's the main character in the story you're telling. He can't. So I was like, okay, so we'll see how this plays out. Now when we throw some pawns in the mix, then it's like, okay, maybe I was a little disrespectful. Eve is not a pawn.
That was pretty disrespectful.
She's more of like a bishop, maybe. A knight?
I would even say a queen at this point.
Slay queen.
I hate that you just say that. That's where we're gonna flash the title card just to stop you from saying that.
But all that to say, when other players are on the board, and the show ain't called Kid Omni-Man, all right? Okay? This ain't the Adam Eve special, all right? They ain't safe.
Yeah.
And so when Oliver pulled up, which I'll save my bad parenting spiel for a little bit later. But when Oliver shows up, I'm like, I respect it, but time and a place. Maybe let's get some more reps on Elephant Man before we tackle this one. But when he was like, obviously when he was being like, stretched out and they were like, playing with the idea, I felt like they were holding that scene a little long.
Yeah.
I was like, it's taking Mark a little too long to get up. I'm getting a little scared. And there was a genuinely, there was a second, maybe even 2-3 seconds where I was like, I'm about to watch Oliver get ripped.
Yeah, Oliver's literally about to be ripped.
When Oliver's tear fell on Conquest's cheek,
yeah,
I was like,
dang.
Well, I liked him while we had him. He was great while he was here.
Not much can be said, but they'll never say I won't ride for my boy.
Then my brain went to like, maybe like he's one of the Guardians. So like he'll probably like come back next season. Where like Cecil will do something. But then obviously like Mark saves him. Yeah. I'm like, whew. And then Cecil pulls up with a stretcher. I'm like, okay, we're getting him out. We're getting him out of the fight.
He's gone. He's gone.
We're tagging him out. We're tagging him out. Good. And then we get a little bit further. Eve pulls up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, Once I saw a pink shield, I was like, And then not only that, she starts working this dude.
Yeah.
She starts getting a little And he's and I'm like, okay, Eve, cook. Let her cook. But as I'm saying let her cook, I'm like, she's cooking a little too much. If you can't take the heat, you might need to get out the kitchen. And then I was like, she's cooking a little too much. And typically, that's when your character gets off.
Yeah.
When your character's cooking a little too much, they're giving them their
sayonara.
Yeah. And she does die.
Yeah.
Once she got punched in the stomach and then punched in the face, and man, they
like half of her whole lower jaw was pretty much gone.
And we really were just staring at her. Like our cameraman was not. He was in shock.
Hey,
he would not pan.
Zoom in.
He would not pan off of her face. He was like, yeah, hey. And so, and then I'm just freaking Mark trying to talk to her. I'm like, I don't know if she can talk. Because, like, her body's human. You know what I mean? It's like, she ain't taking a lick like you can. And I genuinely thought she was dead.
You thought she was cooked?
Oh, I thought she was dead.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, there is nothing that has happened. I didn't see the Adam Eve special, so that's on me.
Fair.
But there was nothing for me to think that what was going to happen was going to happen. And so I did, when she did die, though, which Conquest couldn't even let him have his moment with his girl that's dying. He's still yapping. He's still yapping. Oh, you better talk to her before you run out of time. Out of time. I don't hear heartbeat. Like, read the room, dog. Like, good. I'll get to you. Jeez. And so, but like, obviously when that happened, I'm like, I was watching the show. I was like this.
Yeah.
And then that happened. I said, So Mark, what we finna do about it? We stand on business or what?
Yeah.
What we doing, Mark? Hey, Mark, ball's in your court, Mark.
So before you get into that great line, though, I do want to go back a little bit to I want to zoom in on this part of the episode because this part of the episode was just really good. I thought it was really, really good. First off, the Adam Eve stuff is new. Like her going to work on Conquest, that was not a comic thing. She shows up in the comics, she gets packed like pretty quick.
Yeah, I
But
think
I
the
liked it.
reason they gave her her moment was because, and maybe that was always the goal, whatnot. But I will say this: not the reason they gave her a moment. What's the good thing about giving her the moment? I word it like that. Is that everybody and their mom was getting really, really frustrated with how she was using her powers.
Yeah.
When and listen, I didn't watch the Adam Eve special. I don't think you did either.
No,
but we saw the clips going around of a fight scene
Yeah.
on the highway, and like how she was creatively using her powers. And it's just like, okay, but like, why aren't we doing that? And so, she was just putting up these pink walls, which it was starting to get really annoying.
It was starting to get annoying.
I get it; it's easy to animate, but like, we really need to
Let's come up with something here.
we need
please.
to do something. And so to give her a moment, it's like, fans like me and other people are kind of like, okay, cool. Like at least we know she can do it.
She's got some sauce.
She's got some
I was
sauce.
unfamiliar with your game.
And we saw it. And we saw it.
Yeah.
We needed to see it.
Yeah.
So that was really, really good. And I think she needed her moment.
Yeah, no, I agree because I think they added some creative elements to that we've been missing that I
Yeah.
feel like really elevate her status outside of what happens at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Which is like the whole like density air shift thing that she did.
It's wild.
That's A, it's just a really cool way to show her powers. And B, that is a wild way to use a power that is really powerful.
also the confidence.
Yeah.
When he's like flying and she's just standing there looking at him and
Yeah.
he's like confused. She's like, yeah, I
Yeah.
made the air denser.
Yeah.
What you gonna do about it?
Yeah. Which like I wish she could just do that continuously.
Yeah, I don't
Would
think
have solved a lot of their problems.
I don't think we should have let go of that. I think we should have just kept the air pretty
stuck on that
dense.
one.
Yeah.
I thought when she formed the bubble around his head, I thought she was also gonna like just destroy all of like the oxygen. I don't know, like take all the air out of that.
Vacuum.
Yeah, I thought she was like gonna vacuum seal it. That's what I thought it was going towards.
God.
Not that it wouldn't have done
But you
much
can
because
breathe in
Viltrumites
air.
can, hold their breath for a very long time.
Well, you can breathe in space.
Which, by the way, did you catch that in the space? No, they can't breathe in space. They've talked about this. They have to hold their breath,
Oh, interesting.
so they can
But
only.
they're talking.
So they talk in their head. Every time they're in space, they're talking. They're communicating by mind, and not the Viltrumites to Viltrumite. Alan does it because he
Alan.
can do it. But when the Viltrumites are in space together, they can't do it. So that's why when Mark and
I
Conquest went up
guess
to space,
he was muted.
they
Yeah.
couldn't. I did think what was interesting about that scene, real quick though.
Oh, I guess he did.
He was
talk.
panting in space, and you could hear it.
Who?
Conquest.
Well, he did just get rocked on the way.
But
up
my
there.
point is, it's space. You can't hear it.
Mm.
And he shouldn't be able to pant because he has to hold his breath. So when I saw that, I was like, what?
I guess the pain got to breathe in as well.
I think the only explanation I came up with in my mind on a second watch is that they were kind of still in the atmosphere. So maybe we were getting like just like the edge of the atmosphere. They were able to do that. But regardless, yeah, as there have been moments in the comic run where they like explain to like when they go like clear across the universe, like some of them can go extra far across the universe and some of them can't because they can only hold their breath for so long.
Interesting.
So, but no, I thought she was going to do that with the bubble thing. Didn't do that, but listen.
Well, she didn't do her research.
No,
she didn't read the comic.
No, she didn't.
She didn't know that.
She did not get the scouting report.
No, she didn't. She
Totally
skipped
missed
the
out.
team meeting.
She is definitely one of the players who relies solely on talent.
Yeah.
Didn't work this time.
Nah, yep.
This is those moments where the talent meets the hard work, the
Yep.
dedication, and we all know what happens to those players.
Yeah, we all know hard work beats talent, right, Kevin Durant?
Okay, so, but yeah, the character like use of power for Adam Eve I thought was really creative. I thought it was a very good addition to the show that we didn't get in the comics because I just think it elevated her even more as a character than I think she already was. So I very much appreciated that. And then when she's killed, first off, that scene where Conquest punches her through the stomach, that's like straight up a panel. I don't know if you've ever seen that panel. It's a very cool panel. Very bloody panel.
I love when they do shot for shot.
When they do shot for shots. Yeah, those are always really
So
cool.
cool.
And there's so many iconic ones in the Invincible comic run. They've done a really good job at recreating those.
The
which
big
I think
ones, yeah.
The big ones they've done a really good job at. So
As you should.
as you should. So, but the next part of that scene that I really loved was like when Mark is like just standing over Eve and she's dying, and he's just screaming in terror, and he's just like, Cecil, I need you. Like he's just like he's losing his shit.
Yeah.
And that was one of those moments I was talking about earlier where like you can actually feel the emotion off Mark in this scene. The pure like terror, the pure sadness, the pure rage. the pure just panic in his eyes. You can feel that, every bit of it. And then his next line is obviously just like we're getting into the bars of stuff. But
Bro, hold on.
that's also straight ripped from the comics. So
when Mark screams out for Cecil, that moment, that hit.
Yeah.
That like there are certain moments where it's like you're already very much enjoying what you're watching.
Yeah.
But then like it goes another level
Yeah.
in certain scenes and certain things. For me, that when he screams out for Cecil, bro, it invoked it like an emotion that I've only felt few times. And I was trying to think like, when have I felt this before? And I'm sure I felt it more, but I know definitively there's a certain scene in another IP where I felt this, and it was in Harry Potter, Goblet of Fire, 4th movie. At the end, when Harry brings back a spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the Harry Potter stuff, I'd probably hit the plus, skip 10 seconds, hit it like 3 times real quick, and then you should be good. But when Harry comes back at the end of the movie with Cedric, and Cedric's obviously dead, and his dad is coming down, he's like, my boy, my boy, that's my boy. That's and it's boy. Like that emotion, bro.
Yeah,
that's what I felt when he was screaming for Cecil.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
It's just the pure panic,
desperation,
and desperation, bro.
Is like
Steven Yeun is so good. He did a really good job in that scene. Really good job.
So good. All right, can I get into the bars?
Yeah, please. I've been trying to build this up. To
yes,
this
I know. Man, one of the best ones, and I think I might get. If I don't get it tatted on me, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it somehow in my room, in I don't know, some sort of sign or something that's gonna be over my PC or something. Yeah. I don't care how strong you are. I don't care how fast you are. I can see the future, and you don't live to see another day. And it's when he said I can see the future, I was like, I paused it, and I was like, hold on, let me.
Did I miss something?
Invincible powers, flight, super speed. Yeah, not fortunate. Nope,
I definitely didn't miss that one. Definitely didn't miss that one.
What do you mean by that? And then when he said you don't live to see another day, I said, I said, talk that talk, boy. I didn't know you had it in your bag like that. Man. Boy, cutting a promo like in the WWE, bro. Oh my gosh. That was when he said that. I didn't know. I knew we had good writing. Yeah. I know we had it like that. I know we had it like that. That's
straight from Robert Kirkman from the comic. You can thank Robert Kirkman for that one.
Kirk is cooking, baby. Yeah, Captain Kirk.
He did a great job. And that bounces straight into them just the really like where this is like the moment we've kind of been building up to this idea all of this season with Oliver's contradicting ideologies towards Mark's. Which is like Mark is really he has to learn like the point that he wants to. He's at the fork in the road, and he has to learn which path he wants to take.
Well, he took one.
He did.
And backtracked.
He did.
Now I was going down another road.
So he's got to figure out like if he's gonna be the type who like really does commit to this. Some people just have to be put down, like they can't be allowed to live and keep living. And
so what we're saying is he's Team Joe. So I've got him.
I can't say anything.
I've got him.
I can't say anything. You can have him for now.
I've got him.
You can have him for now.
We putting dogs down left and right. This needs to be branded as an ideology, and I think I want to give it to the Punisher. And this is just like we're just Punisherites.
This is the Punisher ideology.
We're the Punisherites.
The Church of Punisher.
The Church of Punish. The Church of Death Bringing.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm in it if I was a vigilante or a superhero, which I'm not.
My FBI agent.
Mark is in it, whether you like it or not. Punisher, obviously, he started this. I would probably he didn't start it, but he's the head of it.
Yeah.
Who else is in it? I would say who just puts guys down?
I don't know.
Like a Battle Beast is in it.
Battle Beast. Battle Beast does other things.
Yeah, no, he's got his own.
He's got his own church or whatever he's doing over there.
Him and Kendrick Lamar started their own religion.
He's the Church of the Beef. He's just Church of the Smoke.
Church hater.
Always wants it. Oh man, but yeah, and then not only that, but like Mark is truly he's tapping into like in this fight, he's tapping into finally what it truly means to like be Viltrumite.
Yeah.
And Conquest is trying to pull this out of him the entire fight. Like, where's your heart?
So is Omni-Man.
Your heart. Omni-Man tried to do it too. It's like, you have no heart. Where's your heart? Omni-Man tried to do it back on the alien planet too. When all the Viltrumite showed up, he's like, Mark, you don't get it. Like, it's
we gotta kill these guys.
It's us or them.
Yeah, we gotta kill.
There's no in between. You have to like, don't pull your punches.
Yeah, we gotta work these guys.
We gotta work these guys. And this is like the moment where Mark really does have to like tap into that and realize like there is a level he has to go to and tap into the Viltrumite. Like, as good as his human side is and as powerful as his human side makes his Viltrumite side, he also has to learn how to fight as a Viltrumite at points in time. And this was like his big coming out moment in doing that. Like in fighting a villain as strong.
Probably he's got to be one of the strongest in the universe.
Yeah, for sure.
He's got to be.
He's got to be. So, in doing that, like, and he does that, like, and what does that mean? It means when your arms don't work. It means when your limbs are shattered.
Yep.
When you're missing guts. It doesn't matter. You will do whatever it takes to ensure that you are the one left standing.
Yeah, it's I think they have a word. I can't remember. I think it was called like Kobe mentality.
Mamba.
Yeah, when you just got that dog in you, and it's no one's gonna outwork me.
Yeah.
I just think that's what he just got to take that X-ray.
He does.
Just realize you got them two pit bulls in him. All right.
He's had them chained up for a while.
Yeah, fact. We gotta let them out. We gotta air it out, Mark. Air it out.
And you see that happen. I mean, right before that happens, though, we get the big reveal that
we get the Phoenix Force.
the Phoenix.
Yeah, that's what you're referring to, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
yes.
okay, yeah,
Where
cool.
Eve awakens her powers.
Yeah.
And she tells about it at the end of the episode. She's got mental blockers that stop her from
she got nerfed.
She did get nerfed pretty tough.
Then we got an update.
Yep.
You got buffed.
Updates. See? We were just talking about phone updates before the show.
Yeah, but she didn't. She wasn't trying to update.
You know what she did? She left her phone on the charger overnight.
I guess you can call it that. Brink of death, that phone was.
Oh, man. But she shows up and definitely like annihilates all the skin left on Conquest's body.
Which was kind of cool to just see him straight muscle.
Yeah, just straight. I thought since that happened, I was like, oh, so he's just hanging out.
Yeah, his dick's out. It wasn't.
Got fried off.
I think I got fried off.
I got fried off. 100. Yeah, because they showed like his groin. I was looking.
Yeah,
it was gone.
I'm sure you were looking.
Oh man, but yeah, so that gives like Mark a quick upper edge. And then he gives into that Viltrumite side of I'm just gonna, whether it's the front of my skull, I'm going to kill you. Yeah. Smashes his head in. That was also like,
is this what you wanted?
Beautiful, bro.
Are you having fun, bro? When he said, "Are you having fun?" is wild. Yeah. After obviously we toying around, he said, "You still having fun?"
And then Conquest line back to him.
Oh man,
so take the good with the bad, man.
Take the good with the bad. You got me.
He knows what the job is. He does. Like he knows what it is.
I done got.
That was a good peek into his character. Another really good peek in his character that we glossed over briefly was something that they also added for the show, which was not in the comics, which is when he has Mark pinned and he just goes on this little monologue of how lonely he is and how he has no friends and how that makes him sad.
Dude.
And he's revealing this to Mark because he like legitimately is like, I'm about to kill you. So take it to your grave.
Yeah.
Nobody else is hearing this.
Yeah.
But we get like a really big insight into something that, again, this is what changes him from the comic run, is that makes him more of a, I don't want to say like sympathetic character, like you feel bad for him, but you kind of do.
Dude, yeah.
Because he's just like, I'm lonely. The Viltrumites are all scared of me.
And then they send me to do these. They send me to do these nasty things.
I could do so much more.
And I do it.
Yeah.
And that only makes him even more scared of me.
Yeah.
That is devastating.
It was dark
so sad.
It was dark stuff.
He's just a loyal servant.
Yes.
And he's doing what he's told.
Yeah.
And it's making him even more of an outcast.
Yeah. So
that is awful.
And then when it gets to, turning that back into the I take the good with the bad stuff, like he's turned like he knows what the bad is.
The way he said, I mean, he didn't have a jaw really, but when he
I love when characters do that on the show. By the way, they all have a habit of doing that. Like try and mouth out a word.
Yeah, they're coughing.
You need your lips to touch in a certain way.
Yeah. Well, they are drowning in their blood. Yeah, but the way he kind of says it is like, he's like at peace.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't
got
like
no problem with
it
this.
wasn't like a cocky, I take the good with the bad. You got me this time. It was like I take the good with the bad, and this is it.
go into
This is
every
my time.
option. I don't think this is the outcome, but like I know that this
Could happen.
There's a small part of me that knows this could happen.
So I think one thing I want to touch on. I went back and read this episode in the comics.
Yeah.
And I understand what you're saying about how he's portraying the comics Rabbit Animal.
Yeah.
Man, does this one scene of him confiding in a Mark not only does it add a layer, I need you I need you as my best friend to check me.
Okay.
I need you to check me right now.
Okay.
I'm about to Cal Corver 6'3" heat check real quick.
Okay.
Is with the addition of Conquest confiding in Mark, does this make Conquest dang near, if not a top 10 villain?
Top 10 villain of what?
You heard me.
Of all time?
Top 10 villain.
Of all time, Joe?
What can you name 10 other villains? And you don't have to do this. I'm just saying. That's why I'm saying you need to check me.
That's tough.
Can we sit here and name 10 villains that made you feel what Conquest made us feel, right? Can we name 10 villains that put the main character and everybody around him in as much danger as Conquest did? Can we name a villain who not only was rabid and delirious and sadistic, but also kind of made you feel a little bad for him? Can we name 10 villains that, I mean, no matter what you did, you weren't going to win the fight?
Yeah.
Until you got that
I'd have to
hand,
really think about that. I think it's too soon. I'm not saying you not early to the train because there's a possibility it could be correct. I think given more time.
Drop 10 in the comments.
Please.
Drop
I'll try and come up with 10 too.
Drop 10 villains. I'm not saying I'm right. I am just curious at what 10 you're going to bring to the table.
Talk your shit. You can say you're right.
You
You
know
can make
what?
that claim.
Right.
You can make that claim.
That's stand on business. I just need 10 villains across any IP.
Yeah.
I mean, just 10 villains of a story that you would put over his Conquest. Listen, I understand. We only got one episode. We're only getting one episode with him. Yeah. I understand. What I'm saying is crazy. But I'm somewhat of a, how do you call it, pioneer. And I have just edit a wine glass. I'm somewhat of a connoisseur with these villains. And I know a thing or two.
A villain enthusiast, if you would.
A villain enthusiast would maybe put a title on me. And that's what you need to introduce me.
Okay,
a villain enthusiast.
Yeah. No, I got it.
I don't know, man. Just what he made you feel, what he did, what he did in the time that he was allotted. Bro, he was fantastic.
What I will give you is this is maybe one of the greatest, like you said, greatest heat checks from a villain.
Definitely.
Because he, like you said, he's in and out. It's a very short amount of time.
Is.
But man, is it a brilliant 30 to 40 minutes that we have with him. So
it's like in the 30 minutes though, you get his motive, you get a beat down, you get
enough exposition to understand the danger.
You get enough exposition, you get sentiment, or not sentimental, but you get
sympathy.
You have sympathy for him. It's just he did everything that a villain would need, maybe a full movie or maybe a full season to do. He did it all in 30 to 40 minutes.
I agree. Fantastic heat check. This was Peyton Pritchard throwing up like the 9-3 from half court that he just drills. Absolutely.
I'm just saying, bro.
Given time, I definitely think you might be on something.
And I'm not even trolling. Genuinely, we can. It can be a conversation. I'm not saying maybe I'd have to sit and think. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Yeah. But I'm not crazy. So I want you to drop 10 in the comments. We'll see what y'all say.
Oh man, but yeah. So now we've kind of gone through the episode. That kind of summarizes pretty much.
Yeah,
the episode.
I want to go through
favorite moments.
Favorite
one thing I did see that I immediately thought of you on was when Oliver first shows up and he charges Conquest, and Conquest just does a volleyball spike
and bounce like a basketball. Yeah, when he said, "Get ready for a beatdown." Yeah, nah.
That's not it, kid.
No, hey, welcome to the big leagues.
That's my welcome to the league moment for
Yeah,
Oliver.
right. Oliver about to be on a podcast next
If
week.
we do awards at the end of this year, the welcome to the league award
It goes to Oliver.
Oh, man.
Oliver about to be on podcast next week. And be, hey man, so what was like the toughest fight you had? Hey man, this is one dude. You know, he's beating up my brother, so I had to step in. You know, and I'll tell you what, man. We playing with grown men now. Hey, this ain't college ball.
Yeah,
All right?
I thought of you immediately when
This
I saw
ain't-
that. I was like, Joe is gonna love that
Yeah,
scene.
This ain't bullies on the skate park. All right, this is grown men we talking about here. Okay.
Oh man.
I thought it was funny too that he was like, "Ah, man, this guy's old. Like, we
Yeah.
got it," not knowing that like, that actually means he's the strongest he could possibly be.
Yeah,
Like he's more stronger today than he was yesterday,
yeah,
and that's insane.
yeah.
That was awesome. I will say while we're talking about Oliver, especially Oliver pulling up, I gotta ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say we're on a random Wednesday, and Op pulled up on me. You sliding like Oliver? Or are you finna just you just finna hang back like Cecil?
This
and
is
pick
funny
because
because I'm a known lover, not a fighter.
Yes. You pulling up like Oliver, or you? Because we know you don't gotta ask me this question. You understand? Understand that he ain't asking me this question. Okay, because he knows what it's gonna be. Are you sliding like Oliver? Or are you finna kick back with Cecil and Donald and just pick up the pieces when it's all done?
No, like if I know you're like adamantly getting your ass kicked.
Okay, well I wouldn't say that. I would just say I'm in an altercation. I would just say it's an altercation. Maybe he's a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I don't think I could I wouldn't like it. It would go against almost every fiber in my being. But I feel like I would have to step in. So yes, I would, but I necessarily wouldn't be happy about it. And I don't even know if I could really help you win. I'm gonna be honest with you.
So if the situation goes down, maybe I'm not losing, but I'm just maybe just not winning in that moment.
Yeah.
And you pull up.
Yeah.
And you get your licks in, but you get handled.
Yeah.
You get pieced up. And to the point where they gotta you're gonna have to go to the hospital, but you're good. You're good. You're gonna live. There's no threat that you're gonna die, but you just gotta go maybe get a stitch
No,
or two.
I'm great with that.
And I win the fight.
Yeah.
Are you mad at me?
No, not at all. Because I look like the hero. I
Okay.
look like I showed up and I was like the guy who turned the tide.
Okay.
Even if I'm like,
Yeah, right. Or maybe a tooth
bloody
gone.
face, just bruises everywhere, swollen eyeball,
Coughing
No.
up blood.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna look great. I'm gonna look like an absolute. They're gonna write the article about me more than they will you.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? I'm the guy who runs into the fire to
Okay.
save the baby.
And what am I? The
Baby
fire?
being yes, you are.
The fire.
You're the fire fighting the building. Yes.
Yes, fair enough. Okay, that's interesting. What
But I couldn't just let you sit there and get beat up. If I came across that, I couldn't.
Yeah, that's why I can't.
I'd
If
have-
I'm
I have to
getting
participate.
jumped, you're gonna come even the time.
Yeah, I have to participate.
Now, if we got someone that's built some, I don't even know what I can use as a reference here. If there's two guys, you're gonna take the smaller one, right? That's what you're gonna go for.
I don't know. I've got more reach than you, so maybe
Yeah.
me going up against a bigger guy would be okay.
But not only is he taller, of course, but he's
Yeah, like heftier.
he's got a little
I feel like that I wouldn't have to make that decision. You're gonna already make that decision for me.
got his kid in the ankle lock.
That's the thing, though. Listen, we'll be scrappy.
Yeah.
We'll have no shame.
Oh, I'll choke a hoe out.
I'm going for some pinpoints that you don't want me to
No,
hit.
I'm choking a hoe out. That's for sure. No, fight with your hands.
Yeah.
Go to sleep. How would you go to sleep?
Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Oh man.
All right. So that's good to know. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So, favorite scene?
There were a lot of good ones. There's just so many good ones.
All right. How about they're flying so fast that the wind,
That was crazy.
the wind is splitting limbs.
The wind was evaporating everything around it.
I don't know if you noticed. I watched the episode twice.
Yeah.
Both times, I really keyed into this one. They did it.
Yeah.
And there was a kid that was holding his father's hand. His arm just got
Gone.
split.
There was also, I'm 90% positive there was a dog that just got obliterated.
Oh, it did. Yep. No, I saw that twice.
pissed me
That
off.
was I.
That upset me greatly.
Yeah, that upset me a lot too.
Upset me greatly.
The kid probably live.
Yeah.
Dog
good,
is
You're
dead.
good. No, yeah. They were cooked. I saw a funny TikTok. It was like this girl. She's like, just got out of Chicago, and she's like on the beach. And
It was the first girl.
She animates.
That's good
so
stuff.
good, bro.
That's good
TikTok
stuff.
is undefeated. Bro.
Obviously, we got the parallel of the train scene from season 1, and we got
that was really good.
That was good. Now, this got me thinking. Okay. Now, track with me. Follow me where I'm going, because oftentimes I'll be going off the deep end, but I need you to hold your breath and swim with me, okay? We have fought 3 Viltrumites, right? 2 out of the 3 have grabbed Mark by the back of the head and flown him through, I don't know, 50, 75 people and eviscerated them.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is just like a weird Viltrumite thing. All I'm saying is I hope somewhere in the writing we come full circle and Mark does this to somebody
Like
by
down the line.
by season 6. That he just grabs somebody by the back of the neck and just flies through some random planet or something and just eviscerating random
You might
Martians.
be onto something because it's so much of a thing that they literally made it Omni-Man's like finisher.
In Mortal
Kombat.
Yeah. Yeah,
Which,
fatality.
the conquest thing was actually in addition to the show. That was some aspects of the fight that they added in that I was not in the comic panel.
The grabbing the back of the
yeah,
head.
and like
I
shoving
wonder-
him through.
I wonder if they added it because it was so
Yeah.
popular in season 1.
I think
Like,
that,
that's so
and I
iconic.
think they also just realized it was such a good callback.
That, or it could just be like, all right, they can go somewhere with these Viltrumites and just make it like a weird kink.
Like
then
every
just-
2 seasons,
yeah,
we get
there's
just
weird
he
kinky
fights
thing.
this random Viltrumite, and bam, there it
Yeah.
is.
And he does it. And we just make it like either a different city or different race of people. I don't know where we're at, but
You might be on something.
I thought it was a weird kinky thing that
Yeah,
Viltrumites have. But no, I can get down. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't. You got any more scenes? I think obviously Eve fighting was
Yeah.
pretty lit.
Yeah.
I thought when she made the bubble, which one, it was cool. They thunderclapped.
Oh yeah,
That was sick.
the thunderclap is always cool.
I thought when she made it a ball, I'm like, okay, let's turn this into tungsten steel or something. Like, why don't we now change the matter of your ball into something? I'm not saying it's going to hold him down forever. Maybe give us a few seconds to gather our
Give us
thoughts.
some time.
You know, like what we have very much established that
Yeah.
your little pink walls and bubbles
Yeah.
don't do jack diddly.
Nope.
It's one little flick and they're
Yeah.
gone.
The Green Lantern shit don't work.
Yeah, and I ain't about it. So we need to now change that matter into maybe that
Yeah.
tungsten steel that
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Need
Okay.
to quickly change it up from Green Lantern to Scarlet Witch. Like ASAP.
Yeah, for sure. We need to start bending reality. Yeah.
No, the only big scene that like made me also think of you instantly was, of course, one of our favorite characters that we see at the end of the show, where we're
My goat.
wrapping up the season very nicely, and we get, of course, our boy floating in space.
Yeah, 2009 Randy Orton. 2009 Randy Orton. Go
Oh,
look him
man.
up. That's who we saw in that.
Just they really should have just inserted the boom 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 when he opened his
Yeah, bro.
eyes, because Battle Beast is back, baby.
I was
He's
so
here.
happy,
He never
bro.
left, actually.
I was-
He's just biding his time, waiting in the winds.
he is my goat. I think.
He's becoming a
He's-
lot of people's goat.
He's like he's a
The
top 3
streets
character.
love Battle
Oh,
Beast,
dude,
bro.
he's great.
This show has done like so much for his, like people loved him from the comic run. I feel like too.
We didn't get enough of him when we
No.
first saw him. I didn't like him when we first saw him.
Yeah, yeah.
But they didn't really like establish
No.
his hunger for battle. Like
Yeah.
they did, but you didn't understand
He
it.
says it, but he's not as bloodthirsty about it in that episode as
and
he
so,
is now.
I don't know, man. He is. If you don't like him, man, you just don't like to have a good time.
You don't appreciate the game.
Yeah,
You're not in it
you're
for the
just
love
not
of the
in
game,
it.
bro.
You're just not in it for the love of the game. You're just a spectator.
Yeah, and we got news. Since we're recording this a little late, we got news
Oh,
that Robert Kirkman is releasing a new comic run of Battle Beast,
A spinoff.
a little spin-off, which will kind of fill in some of the gaps of some of the time that we didn't have with Battle Beast. Since you said we didn't have enough time, now we are gonna have a lot of time.
I'm definitely.
Which
getting
that is something they will very easily. I'm calling it now. They if depending on when the comic run actually gets done, because those can last like a year or two or a few years. If he wraps that comic run up pretty quickly, they could probably spin that off into like an Adam Eve special, like they did for season 2.
Love.
Maybe for like they said, I think 8 seasons they're trying to do this in. Maybe they do it like
Invincible.
season 6, season 7, 8. One of those, just a little Battle Beast spinoff.
You
know?
could. It's gonna take time because you have to animate it and voice act it and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
The only problem is like it's the story is taking place in between season 1 and season 2.
Yeah, like now.
Or in between season 1 and season 3.
Mm.
So it's like if you release into season 6 or 7, it's like, oh my God, I gotta think all the way back to the time in between.
I agree, but people will still love it because A, it's Battle Beast, and B, there's a lot more that we haven't seen in Battle Beast.
That's fair.
So, and when we get into those parts of the show, people are still going to be watching them, and then they're going to say like,
Oh, I still love this guy.
"Oh, there's a Battle Beast special coming out."
I'm watching it.
Sick. I'm
Especially
watching
if the comic run is fire.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, I know I'm not going to sit and wait for it to be a show. I'm getting that comic.
Good.
run.
I'm glad.
I'm getting it this summer.
This would be like your first like official like I'm buying and reading a comic book.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So-
I just bought the whole Invincible.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Which like all the
of them.
volumes?
Yeah.
Dang, man. Yeah.
So I am holding on to them and I'm reading them
as you go through the
as
show.
I go through the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I want to spoil it just because I
No,
know
don't.
myself.
No.
And it's just not how I like to consume it.
No. I don't want you to.
And I
either.
can wait.
Yeah.
I really want to take my time, but I want to savor this show.
For sure. But
There's one more.
yeah. What? Anything else you got before we get out of
Oh,
here?
dude, the only thing.
Oh, we got to
the
give a
only
ranking too.
we
So
do
do
gotta
this
give a
and we'll give a
ranking.
ranking.
Another scene after Mark saves Oliver,
Mm.
he grabs him, and they're flying at the fastest that Mark has probably ever flown. And Conquest just stops them
Yeah.
on a dime, like
Yeah.
with Sean McCoy,
Yeah.
like
He's-
Shady McCoy.
That blows out most Achilles.
Not this guy.
Not this guy.
on a dime.
That's what ACLs are built for.
Not only stopped Mark's momentum, but stopped his momentum
Yeah.
on a
Just-
dime.
Instantly, bro.
Like that was like that shows you the power scaling.
Oh yeah.
You're just like,
There's levels to this.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
he's in goat status.
Good stuff, man. There's just so much good stuff about this episode. We could go on and on about this
Oh, yeah,
episode.
yeah,
Really,
yeah.
we really could. We loved this season. Let's get into a ranking of this season as a whole, and then seasons 1 through 3 as a whole, like what we've gotten up until now in the story.
Real quick.
Yes,
I'm so sorry.
that's okay.
We got to talk about the things that all happened at the end of all the plot lines that they're kind of.
Like what?
So I have a question.
Okay.
Earlier in the season,
Mm.
you were, I don't want to say Team Cecil, but you were kind of like, I understand.
Oh yeah.
My question is he taking it too far?
Yeah, this is the line. You've crossed it.
So this is the line,
You're
or we're far past
No,
it?
you're like looking back at the line. You've already gone across it.
Yeah.
This is too much. Because like this is getting into the line of this idealism, this theology that you can play out in your mind
Yeah.
is there's a thin line where you start to toe it, and if you go too far, you start to dip into arrogance because anything is in your control.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's getting all these people from his past to do good things. And in his mind, it's like, who can't I do this with? And that leads you into the arrogance of like, oh, look, something I can do this with
Something that's broken, let me fix it.
that you really shouldn't be doing anything with
Yeah.
other than throwing into the sun.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, no, I don't agree with this at all. This is very bad. This is not
He
good.
said, if this dude so much as twitches, this whole thing is blowing up.
Yeah.
And
And
you could drop an atomic bomb on this dude,
he's not doing
and he would
anything.
just
He'd lick his lips, bro.
eat that like nothing,
He
dog.
would, bro. Yeah,
What
so
do you
this is
think
too
this
far.
is gonna do? Yeah, this
This
is too
far.
much.
This is I can't get into this. Like there's a line that Mark learned, like when he needs to put down people and not put down people. This is the line that Cecil needs to learn as like a mirror to that. That like there's some things you just shouldn't try this on, and this is one of them.
Yeah,
So-
I think it's going too far.
Yeah.
Damien's got a cool little
Oh,
side
that's
plot.
right. Yeah, I forgot about this.
Damien's got a cool little side plot. I know. I mean, it's come out. Everybody probably knows right now. This is not in the comics.
No.
This is an original story,
No.
but it's written by Kirkman.
Yeah, very cool.
So we're not gonna dip off, our writing. We're not gonna dip off the storytelling. It's
Yeah.
still gonna be awesome. I think my personal guess is this is all gonna encapsulate to like a 1-episode arc.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't think it's gonna. I think at max it's like 3, but in the background with
I
a
think-
1 episode focus.
I think we'll see like a scene or two and maybe an episode or
Mhm.
whatnot. Maybe
I
a
agree.
closing scene. We'll see
Yeah.
something, and then it'll all accumulate to like a 1 full episode where we like handle everything, and then
Yeah.
but then once we're done, we're like
where he
done.
fights the devil. That's apparently what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah, I'm down with that. When I saw it on the screen, I was like, what? So
Yeah.
I literally I didn't know what was happening, and I immediately went to figure out what the heck was going on with that scene. And since then, in the following days, it's been revealed like this was an unused run that he thought about doing, never actually like finished it, or maybe he did, but now he's actually like doing it. So who knows too? Like if this works really well, maybe he just keeps doing this. Because I mean, clearly he has more ideas for different parts of the series. So we got, if we're in 8 seasons of this, I mean, he could throw in like one of these plot lines a season if it's
You know
short
what this
like
is? This is if like, man, I forget his name every time. The guy that wrote Game of Thrones, George R.R. What is it? George R.R. Martin?
Yep.
If he had finished the whole story before we made it a show, this is what it would have been.
Yeah,
like.
this is what I agree.
This is what it would have been like. It would have been him alongside the showrunners.
Yeah.
Going, making sure everything is
Which he kind of did for a while, but
it's different. It's
they
different.
had disagreements.
Yeah, it's not one for one the same. This is what it could have been. What Game of Thrones could have been.
Yeah.
And like as we're going through the seasons, he could like tweak things.
Yeah.
You know, as the guy who made the original story.
Which is funny because he's kind of doing that.
He's doing
in
that
reverse.
in reverse.
Where like he's seen
He's
it and he's
seeing what
seen
we
people's
didn't
reaction.
like.
And he's like,
Yeah.
maybe I should fix this.
Yeah, he's seeing what we didn't like, and then he's like fixing it.
Which
in the
is
books.
why we're never getting the books.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
And like this is what Game of Thrones could have
Yeah.
been, where we're getting like these little tweaks in the plots and stuff like that, or maybe even, I wouldn't even say tweaks because this is more of addition.
Yeah.
It's more just addition. So definitely was super super cool. I'm ready to give my ranking.
Yeah, go ahead. This
really-
season, just season 3.
Yeah, I didn't really have to think about it. 10.
Yeah, this is like a 15 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, it was a 10.
I freaking loved this season of television.
Yeah.
I personally would put this as my favorite season and the best season.
So what rank all 3 seasons?
I would do 3.
Like give them rankings.
Oh, like give all of them rankings? I feel like my ranking of 2 is skewed. I need to go back and watch 2, even though I'm higher on 2 than everybody else.
Okay.
I would say 1 is a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
2 is like a 9.75.
Points.
Yeah,
That's good,
you're
baby.
welcome. That's the only time I'll do that. And then this one was like a 15 out of 10.
Okay.
I just loved
Well,
this season.
10 out of 10.
It's 15 out of 10.
That just hurts what our average is.
That's
Our
okay.
math guy. He
That's okay.
struggles.
I'm sure there's an equation he can figure it out.
Okay.
Okay.
I would say season 3 is a 10 out of 10, or if it's going to 15, whatever. It's the highest it could possibly be.
Yeah.
Season 1 is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Also highest it could be. 15 out of 10, whatever you want to say. Season 2, I'll probably give like a 9.5.
Yeah.
9.5. It's just, yeah, it has its flaws. But that's okay. Every show has a,
For sure.
I wouldn't even say it's a low. A 9.5 is a fantastic. Shows would be begging.
Massive score.
Yeah, like shows would be begging
Fantastic.
for a 9.5.
Marvel and Star Wars are begging for a 9.5.
Yeah. So 9.5 is not is low, but I mean, if everything's a 10 and 9.5 is a low,
Yeah.
we're good. All right. So I just think this is just fantastic.
Yeah.
I personally, I would rank it season 3, season 1, season 2. I really struggle with putting 3
You
number
give
1.
3 the edge? You've changed your mind on this.
So the reason why I give season 3 the edge is because the benefit that season 3 has is that it gets to like revel in the foundation, in the
Yeah.
sandbox that season 1 and season 2 built.
For sure.
So like season 1 and season 2 built all these storylines, they built all the character development, the character arc, everything. And now season 3 gets to add to that, but then they get to just play.
Yeah.
They just have fun.
That's why for me personally, like sequels and like further movies, if they're really good, like if like both the products are really good, the first one and its subsequent sequels, I will always give the edge to the sequels only because for me, for that reason, like we have more.
Yeah, it's the sandbox.
It's just
It's
more to
playing.
play with. There's more plot. There's more.
You don't have
more
to-
invested in these characters.
You don't have to waste episode. Not even waste. You don't have to like.
Just get.
But you don't have to
through.
waste out
Yeah.
of your 8 episodes. You don't have to waste 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 and,
You can just go all
building
gas.
these
Yep.
characters. You can just go all gas. That being said, typically, I know that's the case. I will still give the original the edge because without 1, you don't
Sure.
get as good of it. You don't
Sure.
get as good of a 3.
That's fine.
But the reason why I'm like giving the edge to season 3, which I typically don't do, is that yes, 1 and 2 built this world. yes, 3 get to have fun and play in it. But I've seen so many products that have had decades, seasons, shows, movies, all set up the sandbox,
Yeah.
and then they just light it on fire.
Yeah.
And they just botch it.
Yeah.
So Invincible did not botch it.
No.
They took it and they very much took advantage of
Yeah.
everything that was set previously.
They perfected it.
They did it. It was just fantastic. That being said, because they didn't mess it up, because I really can't find a flaw, or maybe if I do 1 or 2, because I do not believe the animation was a flaw. That's on me.
Yeah.
If you have a problem with that, then you're just watching too many YouTube videos.
Take it up with our comment section.
Yeah, you need to form your own opinion and stop watching that one YouTuber. It's like, come on, let's get with it. You don't know what good animation looks like, so stop. don't tug your own hoot your own chain over there. But yeah, so I'll give season 3 the edge. Hurts because I'm a big season 1 guy. Like,
Yeah.
I loved season 1.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's a great problem to
Yeah.
have. It's a great problem to have.
This show is creeping into, it's got the potential to reach the all-time status.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
How many seasons of a show is required for it to be considered, or even in the conversation of a GOAT show?
I would say it's definitely not 3, because this is still too early.
Yeah.
And I honestly I can't think of many shows that were, I feel like, considered that after only 3 seasons. Even if you look at Game of Thrones, I feel like people knew what Game of Thrones was that early on, but it didn't really reach that mythology until it pretty much got to the point where it actually fell off and everybody was like, what are we watching?
Yeah.
This isn't our show. So I don't know. I don't know if it's really a matter of seasons or if it's more just a matter of how much plot they can get through.
Okay.
Because you've seen all those memes about this show about they show the book and they show where we are in the story and
Yeah.
how much more there is to go. There's a lot of story to be told in this story left. And so I just don't think I can't specifically call this show an all-timer yet until I see those parts of the thicker parts of the plot fleshed out. And if the main meat of the overall story gets fleshed out perfectly, then I would say, regardless of how maybe it could trail off like a Game of Thrones at the end, I would consider it all time.
Yeah.
I guess so I don't know if my answer is a season thing. It's more of how can we do with the plot?
No, I agree. I think a show can't be. I don't think a show should be considered in GOAT conversation until the story's done.
Completely done.
At least until it's either canceled or done.
Okay.
Because I think landing the plane, everybody can agree, landing the plane is very, very important.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not going to contradict myself, but landing the plane is very, very important. We saw that in Game of Thrones.
Mm.
That being said, I still will put Game of Thrones as the greatest show I've ever seen in my life. It's number 1.
Yeah.
That's just me. I
Yeah.
don't know where this is on your list.
Yeah, it's very high on my list. Very, very, very high.
I'd
It's
put
probably number 1.
I'd put it at number
Which is
1.
why we talk about it so much on this
Yeah,
podcast.
I understand season 8, some would say even season 7 was, subpar, didn't live up to the rest of the show.
Argue with the wall.
I listen, I agree, but I just don't think it's enough.
Yeah.
I don't think it's enough to derail it, but I'd put that. I had to think about it more, but I'm honestly gonna probably put Avatar: The Last Airbender as probably the second greatest show.
The animated
The
one?
animated one, not the live action. The animated one.
I had to point that one out.
Yeah, no, for sure. I appreciate that because they were about to make me look like a clown. The animated one, the OG. That's I'd probably say number 2 just off the top of my head. But
we should do this at some point, an episode of just what our top 10.
Yeah.
No,
I think it'd be a great episode. So this is basic. This show is LeBron in 2016.
Okay.
This is LeBron at a point where he knows he's first ballot Hall of Fame. He's just waiting to qualify.
Would you call LeBron's 2016 though his apex mountain with the 3-1 comeback?
it's hard to say LeBron's apex. Like
I feel like that's kind of his apex.
We might still be in it.
We're never leaving.
Yeah.
it.
No, I'd say 2016 probably. I mean,
like
it's
nothing
hard
he
though.
can do is ever gonna be as great as that.
No, it's hard though because like 2016, like of course he did what nobody else has done, and he was not only did they do it, like he was insane.
Yeah.
But it's like then you look at the Heat stint, like he was physically one of the most dominant athletes we've ever seen in our life.
Yeah.
And then you look at the Cavs stint, he had a very, 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 very subpar team and was leading them to the finals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, what his apex is, it doesn't matter. What I'm getting at is I think maybe some could argue probably before, but I'm just gonna say 2016 is the easiest.
Yeah.
After that year, it's like, okay, like this guy's just a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like there's no question if and or but about it.
Yeah.
Now he's just waiting to qualify. Like he's waiting until like he meets the requirements.
So you're saying this is like the point in the
Invincible,
career where like they know they're a first ballot Hall of Famer, but they're like their career still goes on.
Yeah, because they can't. I mean, yeah, they
There's
can't. While they're
nothing
an
they
athlete.
could do at this point to take themselves out of the Hall of Fame.
I mean,
Like next season, just crash and burn. Terrible.
can it crash and burn though?
I don't think it can. Personally, I don't think it can.
Yeah,
but
it's like so maybe it's not. Maybe he's in the Heat. Maybe they're in the Heat state right now.
okay.
You think Invincible is 2010 LeBron right now?
This is still like it's like the end of his Cavs career.
End of his career.
Yeah.
Right now, season 4, he just made the decision.
Actually, season 3,
yeah, no, because
I can't say season 3 was his first title. We're not there yet.
okay, that's fair.
Like
That's
I
what I'm
want to
saying.
say that.
So it's his first year in Miami.
No, because that was bad. That ended very poorly.
So his last year with the
That's
Cavs,
like-
that was
that's-
also not great.
It's like his low. Yeah, but like 2009, 2010, he was generally considered. I know Kobe was still pretty much as well.
yeah,
I think he was generally considered like he's the best player in the league.
So you think like right now is like he's about to go to Miami?
Yeah.
So are we gonna take a dip?
That's where this is not LeBron. That's where this is Michael.
This is Michael, and he's about to come back out of retirement. Season 2 was Michael going to play baseball, and now we're back at his first title back.
No, him playing baseball was the gap we took between the first half of season 2
There
and the
you go.
second half of season 2.
So right now we just won our first title
He came
back.
back and lost against the Magic. He just won his title after being back.
Yeah, so I think like Invincible is just like waiting.
Yeah, no, I
Like
agree.
they're just waiting, and they're just gonna keep cooking.
Yeah.
And they're gonna keep having a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
And then when it's all said and done, I've got a nice little pillow, nice little spot set up
Yeah.
right here on my number 2 spot. Maybe it'll take my number 1 spot. I don't
see.
know.
We'll see. It's got potential.
It's got potential.
All right, that's gonna do it for us here with Invincible. We've had a ton of fun covering this series.
Dude.
I can't wait. I'm sad we're gonna probably have to wait like another year.
It's a year. They're coming
year.
out early next year.
So we're gonna have to wait another year for season 4. Because man, does the story like really reach another stratosphere
Yeah.
in the next part of the saga. So we've had lots of fun. Thankful for you guys coming out and listening to us, engaging in the conversation. If you haven't already, subscribe to YouTube, follow our TikTok, follow our Instagram, go drop comments, go drop likes, tell your friends about it. And yeah, we just look forward to talking more of this stuff with you guys. We're going to be back with a Daredevil episode here soon.
Hey, come on, somebody.
So stay tuned for that if you are following along in that series as well.
And if you're blind, just hear it coming.
That was good. That was good. I got me.